A lot of talk recently has been about who will take over the club's pole position as manager for the foreseeable future. Well, in today's video, we have been handed a huge blow regarding this as a prime candidate has ruled themselves out. Not only this, we will also go over all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours.
But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.
It's now official. Callum Osmond has been added to Celtic's Europa League squad, replacing injured defender Cameron Carter-Vickers. As Celtic News reported on Monday, UEFA regulations allow clubs to make a late squad change when a player is ruled out through long-term injury, and Celtic have taken advantage of that rule ahead of Thursday's clash with Midtjylland. The decision means Osmond, who scored the decisive extra-time goal in Sunday's 3-1 League Cup semi-final win over Ibrox, is now eligible to feature in Denmark. It caps off an incredible week for the 19-year-old striker, who only broke into the first team after the arrival of Martin O'Neill and has quickly become one of Celtic's most talked-about young talents. Meanwhile, Carter-Vickers has been sidelined for up to 5 months after undergoing surgery on an Achilles injury, effectively ending his season. Osman's addition gives Celtic an extra attacking option for the crucial Europa League tie, with Kelechi Iheanacho still recovering from a hamstring issue and Johnny Kenny the only fit senior striker. He comes into the match full of confidence and in great form, and can probably expect to get some minutes from off the bench. Celtic will travel to Denmark later today, with a press conference scheduled for this evening. Now for the main story, as Club Brugge boss Nicky Hayden has spoken out amid growing talk that he's being lined up to replace Brendan Rodgers at Celtic, insisting he's focused on his current job, though reports claim he's high up Celtic's wish list. The 45-year-old has earned rave reviews in Belgium and is preparing for a Champions League showdown with Barcelona, but his name continues to be linked with the Glasgow job. Asked by VTM News if the Barca clash could be his last, Hayden brushed off the rumours. "I haven't thought about that for a second. I have someone who represents my interests and knows exactly when to inform me. That's not an issue yet. There's growing belief in Belgium that Celtic are quietly working to tempt him to Glasgow. Despite recently signing an improved deal, it's understood Hayden would consider an offer from the Celts if one arrives. It's also believed Celtic could secure him by triggering a release clause, though the fee remains undisclosed." With Celtic expected to appoint a new manager in December, the timing could be ideal, and Wednesday's meeting with Barcelona may serve as Hayden's final audition before a move to Glasgow. In other news, former Celtic goalkeeper Scott Bain, now playing for Falkirk, has been handed a recall to the Scotland national team 6 years after his last appearance. The 33-year-old, who joined Falkirk in the summer after leaving Celtic, replaces injured number 1 Angus Gunn in Steve Clarke's squad for the upcoming internationals against Denmark and Greece. Bain last featured for Scotland in a 2-0 win over San Marino in March 2019. Since becoming Falkirk's first-choice keeper, he's been in superb form and is the only goalkeeper in the current squad playing regular first-team football. After years on the fringes at Celtic, where he made just 78 appearances over 6 seasons, the move to Falkirk has rejuvenated his career. His consistency has been crucial to Falkirk's strong start to the campaign, and now he's been rewarded with a national team return. It's a fitting turnaround for Bain, whose career looked to have stalled at Parkhead. Whether he earns a cap this month remains to be seen, but his revival has been one of Scottish football's more uplifting stories in 2025. In other news, Neil Lennon was on Premier Sports on Tuesday night, covering Champions League football. While in the studio, presenter Ian McDevitt joked to the former Celtic manager that Martin O'Neill was the last person to sit in his seat, and he's now back in the Celtic dugout, to which Lenny replied, "I might take that." He laughed it off, making it clear he was joking. The Dunfermline manager isn't expected to make a third return to Parkhead, but as always with Celtic, you can never say never. Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney have impressed since stepping in, guiding Celtic to back-to-back wins, defeating Falkirk in the league and progressing past Ibrox in the League Cup semi-final. Next up, they face a major test against Europa League leaders Midtjylland, with the squad set to travel to Denmark on Wednesday ahead of Thursday night's clash. Interestingly, O'Neill was in attendance when Nottingham Forest became the only team to score against the Danish side in the competition, and he reportedly came away impressed. Lastly, the meltdown from Rangers and their fans since being dumped out of the League Cup by Celtic on Sunday has been nothing short of extraordinary. Despite benefiting from a string of generous refereeing calls at Hampton, including a dubious penalty that dragged them back into the tie and forced extra time, the Ibrox side has spent the days since raging over a supposed kick to the head from Austin Trusty. The incident, which happened near the end of the first half, has been replayed endlessly across Rangers-friendly media. In reality, the American defender's boot barely brushed Jack Butland's face, and later photos showed no mark or sign of impact. Meanwhile, the SPFL quietly moved on. When the league's official team of the week dropped on Tuesday, there was Austin Trusty's name, rewarded for a calm, commanding performance that anchored Celtic's 3-1 victory. Celtic fans relished every second of it, celebrating both Trusty's inclusion and the meltdown that followed. The result stands, Celtic march into the final, and Austin Trusty, not Jack Butland, walks away with the praise. Former Celtic defender Erik Sviatchenko has shared his thoughts on Brendan Rodgers' shock resignation and the explosive fallout that followed between the former manager and Celtic's majority shareholder Dermot Desmond. Rodgers' departure last week stunned Scottish football and led to one of the most remarkable public statements in recent memory, with Desmond accusing the Northern Irishman of misleading conduct and self-preservation at the expense of others. Speaking exclusively to Celtic News, Sviatchenko, who played under Rodgers during his first spell at Parkhead, admitted that watching events unfold from afar was both surprising and disappointing, but he was quick to remind fans of the success the manager brought to the club and urged them to focus on that. Yeah, definitely. It was a shock in the sense of a resignation, like there has to be some kind of disagreement, and you also kind of afterwards could read with Desmond's pretty harsh accusations towards Brendan Rodgers. Yeah, it's never fun to read when you know the majority of the club is always kind of with respect and a kind of gentleman and the story behind all these things, and then suddenly you have this kind of throwing mud at each other. But yeah, I think it would definitely be a new time. I think Brendan Rodgers has done incredibly, and I think the fans need to remember that there's always this kind of... I saw now the Champions League with Trent Alexander-Arnold, which, what, did he play 350 games for Liverpool, a youth player, and then the fans are booing? It's kind of... I just can't understand whatever you might have. It's still a player that did so much and he chose something else. Get over it and respect it in some way. So I think remember the good times and of course be annoyed by the times that weren't as good. But there's always time for change, and maybe that's a positive. Look at it as a positive thing instead of keeping the negative as kind of the topic. Brendan Rodgers knew his football had run its course and he wasn't getting much more from his players. Mixed in with everything else going on at the club, it was probably for the best that he left.
What do you think of what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comments section below. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.